Hello again. We're back, and we were just talking about the various book reviews that I've been receiving this week and how they impacted me. I thought it only correct that I read the full review so you get a sense of what the comments were and you can come to your own decision. This one, the first one, was on July the 6th, and it was Cover Lover Book Review. I didn't really know exactly what to expect from To Every Page is Turning, but certainly didn't anticipate my heart being pricked so deeply. I rarely read books that detail the harshness and realities of combat and war, which this one contains, but I was so intrigued by the blurb. As I began reading, I found it impossible to stop. I was immediately drawn in and absorbed by every page, until I ultimately turned the last page with a satisfied sigh. I saw the war violence through the hero's eyes. I felt his thoughts of worthlessness and yearnings for a purposeful life. I wore the scars of his physical, spiritual, and emotional wounds. Now that is a great storytelling. The writing is so candid and potent that it made me read well into the night. I love writing that makes me feel, makes me grow, makes me see the world and perhaps myself in a new way. This is an incredibly effective, soul-stirring story of an American hero. I cried throughout much of it. Some tears fell for this man's memories and heartaches. Some fell for my own. Memorable quotes from this book. There is a place in all men where the truth lives. He wondered how many people were out there this very morning wishing they could have what he had accomplished, and just how many knew how high the cost really was. He had even come to admit and profess that yes, indeed, there was a place for God in his life and that of his family. The scars are less noticeable, and the joys of God's love shine clearly in him today. I found that to be a humbling review, and I wrote to her and thanked her and said the same thing. You know, sometimes when you come from a background such as mine and you are willing to be vulnerable and put it all on the paper, you take a risk and you write the book. But somewhere in the inner child that still exists within me, the accomplished executive who has traveled the world, been accepted, in the highest places of the world, there's still a young man in there who wrote these things from the feelings that he lived. And to be accepted and acknowledged in this fashion by a professional really touched my heart. Because inwardly, I never really felt it was good enough, that this was a writing of my memoirs, and yet it wasn't a professional level. And yet here this person acknowledges full-heartedly, this is indeed a well-written work. It's a storytelling like very few others, and it touched her tremendously. And this is the goal of this book. The book wasn't to tell stories just for storytelling. It wasn't a war story. It wasn't a love story. It wasn't a travel story. It was a story about the emotion of growth and change during the 20th century for the key figure, and I must say probably his entire generation of people who wandered through the 20th century, many experiencing the same emotions, the same issues. Perhaps not the exact detail of the emotion, but the emotion nonetheless was there. And this is a chance to tell people and express to people anything can change with God's help. You can overcome any pain. You can overcome any hurdle. If you persist and you open your heart to God, anything can change. And this woman acknowledged that. She saw it, understood it, and put it on paper. I'm blessed by it. Thank you.